All right, so like we always start every podcast off with the Bible verse. Today's guests are, I'm going to call it the founding fathers. They're just a special kind of stopping in for an interview. I don't really want to call them a season 1 or season 2 because I may just drop it next week and kind of just bring it to you guys. So today's Bible verse is going to be Matthew 26, verse 35. And the Word of God states, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in." So pretty much God just saying that when he came to earth in Matthew that they were they welcomed him, right? And I feel like when it comes to at least this story and in general, like you know, we got to be welcoming as people, right? And then when we come into the career that we've chose, you know, law enforcement, if you don't feel welcomed, it can be very, you know, a scary place, right? It can kind of get, you know, deep quick. We talked about mental health,
Mental health.
right? So with that being said, though, you guys can kind of jump in and introduce yourselves, and we'll kind of go from there.
So I'm Victor Prado, retired correctional officer, 20 years, vice president of Fresno County Public Safety, and also co-founder of Fresno County Public Safety.
My name is Gomez. I'm retired the sheriff's office 30 years. 25 years of that I'd worked in a gang unit. I dealt with gangs and all the things that they bring into our community and even in our jails. It was a very challenging career, but also worked with very good people. Also, I was a president, founding president of the Fresno County Public Safety Association, co-founder with Victor. We represented it at one time over 1,000 members, 5 departments. And we'll talk more about that later, how we came to be. Victor's going to talk about it, and also why, the whys. But anyway, glad to be here. Enjoy your video and your show, your messages and your Bible verses.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you guys for coming on. So we'll just kind of jump in it, right? Kind of first thing I guess we can say is we talked about a little bit on the first video because this is our second round here, right?
Part two.
We talked about recruitment. So do you want to kind of go over that and what we kind of had said?
Yes, let me put on my high-end glasses here so I could see.
There you go.
So right now we need the Sheriff's Department, Fresno County, needs about 50 correctional officers. And so I was going to share the website or the email for a recruitment team. If you want to get a hold of recruiters so that you can discuss your issues or whatever you might have.
Your interest.
Yeah, your interest. And also, too, some people have some challenges in their background. And sometimes they're concerned like, oh, they're not going to hire me or forget it. I'll never, get an opportunity. Well, this is your opportunity. And so we all can find redemption, right? We can make mistakes and redeem ourselves. So if you need help, I also did backgrounds for the Sheriff's Department for a little bit. And now I do backgrounds for a tribal gaming commission, a local casino. So if you need some information about your backgrounds or things that you might be concerned of, talk to me. I'm willing to help anyone, especially young people, try to get an opportunity for a better life, which is very important to me, that young men and women do that. So the following emails for recruitment at fresnosheriff.org. Simple, recruitment@fresnosheriff.org. Just email them, tell them you're interested. Also at the Fresno County Government, Fresno County Employment Services, it's open recruitment. Put in the app. It's continuous, 450. And so they're 12-hour shifts. So most people live in this area or close to, so 15, 20-minute travel. Great pay, great benefits, great retirement. And you work 12-hour shifts, so you might have opportunity to be 4 days off to be at home, or weekends or weekdays. You can work in specialty units. There's like where I used to work, gang unit. Louis used to work there as well. Classification unit, trans unit. There's all kinds of specialty jobs that you can get, or once you earn your keep. You do good, you get transferred. It's very interesting. Great leadership. New sheriff's Noni. Assistant sheriff is Assistant Sheriff Duran, which is an excellent leader and a good man. I think it's great to have great leaders. It makes a difference in your employment. It's a great time to join the Sheriff's Department. I did my 30 years. I'm grateful. Help pay for my home and raise my kids and go traveling and do things, that I wouldn't be able to. And I work my overtime. And so,
Definitely was a blessing for
Yes.
me as well. 20 years,
Yeah.
long time, very rewarding
Right.
for me and my family.
Yeah.
Well, same thing. We own a home, and all thanks to the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
The 20 years, a pension at the end. There's a big future working
Right.
for a department like that, working for the county. It took care of all my family's needs.
Right.
So
For sure.
And-
I like how you guys bounced that off. It was so smooth, man. You guys have always just like
we've been doing this
That-
for 20 years. I'm proud of.
that partnership is right there, man.
Yeah,
I like
he's
it.
Victor Prado's my best friend, man. He's my brother.
There you go.
I trust him with everything, and he's been in my life so much, and my kids love him. My daughters think of him as an uncle, and so Victor
Uncle
Prado's-
Prado.
Yeah,
I
uncle.
like it.
My
Prado
boys
is
are
like,
the same way. They talk about Gomez all the time. He's known
Yeah.
my family, my kids, and
Yeah.
he's come out a couple of times to watch my son play football. And he's my brother.
Respect.
yeah,
Respect.
and it'll be times, and just as kind of in general, you think you have friends and you don't, and then the ones that check on you when you're kind of feeling down, the ones that are there with you even when the storms are happening, those are your friends. The other ones are acquaintance, and just remember that, guys and girls, if you have those people, keep them near to you and appreciate them, because there's not that many people that will be there when it's trials and tribulations, and that's a true statement. I learned that, that's my unsolicited advice to people. So
Yeah, no, awesome. I'm gonna jump in real quick, and I mean, you guys gave a freaking amazing, pitch for the recruitment, right? And I can say like this is what the sheriff department brings. You guys met at the sheriff department, so it brings brotherhood, sisterhood. You're gonna go to war with your brother and sister in there, right? When you're in there, it's not. You don't like to put it that way, but it is a us versus them, essentially, right? Because we have to go in there and be partners. We have to go in there because remember, everybody's different. You were a talker like me. Right. You were more of a de-escalator. You were kind of both. You were a great talker too.
Right.
I remember when I always thought I was a good talker, and obviously it's coming to fruition. But I remember when you watched me do my first interview as a class officer.
You say us versus them. There is truth and kind of skewed truth to that, in my opinion.
And that's what it is. It's opinions.
Right.
For sure.
So inside the walls, it definitely is us against them type of mentality, but it's not always like that. It's really not always like that. And then sometimes you see these people outside, I had good rapport with people in the jail. I had a lot of inmates that I got along with very well. I was able to de-escalate a lot of issues and obtain what I needed to obtain to continue my shift every day. Right. And I see these people on the outside, and I talk to them all the time. Hey, Prado, what's up? Hey, or some of them will just point at me and they're like, were you at county? I see them now retired, right?
Yeah.
Tell me congratulations. I tell them I'm retired. They tell me congratulations, shake hands, whatever.
Yeah.
No, for sure. That's definitely a good happy ending right there, for sure.
Oh, all the time.
I think that's the goal, right? Of us being, we're human beings. We're gonna interact. We're gonna interact in the community. I mean, they are human beings. They just made a mistake, right? At the end of the day, it's not our place to judge them. It's our place to just make sure that while they're there, they're there safely. They go to court, they do their thing, and then we move on. Right? We get the next batch.
Right.
But when I say us versus them, I mean that, for example, if it's us three here, we all know the way we talk to inmates. We all know the way we interact, right?
Correct.
But we all know, Corporal, we've been there. I mean, we've been there together. You have that one guy that can get in it, and he's a loudmouth or gets you in some situation. You're like, oh, what are we doing? And I remember like an incident I had in the North Jail as a corporal. I walked in one day and my security officer flashes me, and I go into a certain pod, and all these inmates are surrounding this officer. And I go in there, and this one inmate, big old dude, upset. And he's, barking at this guy. Not like literally barking, but just going back and forth as far as they're going. And then I'm like, what's going on, right? And they're arguing about TV. They turn the TV off, and I go, it's 11:30 at night. Per the handbook, supposed to be off at 10 o'clock. So you're going to go off on a guy right now for your TV's supposed to be off an hour and a half ago. And that comes back down to, I guess, like not going off certain things, right? Because of the way you work, right? And then the way the officer, couldn't do that. He couldn't articulate or explain to him, hey, that TV should have been off. I'm cutting it off because you were on the top tier, or you guys were playing cards, and the North Jail is different. It's not like when I remember I put a certain video out and people were like, oh, why didn't you just put him in his cell? Well, the North Jail is not cells. It's a bunk. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do when an inmate tells you, like, go put me away? You guys being 30 and 20 years, how would you respond to? And it's kind of funny, 30, 20, 10. Literally 3, 2, 1 right now. So we'll start with you, Corporal. How would you handle that situation?
Well, you assess the what's happening, how many people around that inmate, see what's going on, see if there's 30 people around that inmate, and you're going to deal with you're going to deal with any additional staff. If it's a singular incident with a singular person, maybe bring one or two, and then as a group. So it's kind of like a moving target. Depends on the environment, and it depends on the the observation of what the inmate's doing. If the inmate's aggressive, he could be under the influence too. If he's under influence, then you definitely need more people. If he's just sitting on his butt, where I'm not going, protester ones, the passive protesters, and that's nothing, But it's kind of like something you do right instantaneously, but you have like 10 decisions to make in exactly 2 seconds, and you have to do rapid response and rapid decision making, whether escalate it, de-escalate it, or bring resources. So
for sure, great. I mean, obviously, great explanation.
And that goes into anything in life. You're at a grocery store, some guy's going off on you or something, and you see that he's maybe under the influence. You have your family with you. You're not going to go address him. You're going to take care of your family first, and then make your safe place first, and then get support, whether it's the police. So in anything you do, you make an assessment, and that's what it's about. It's about using your brain versus your emotions, and that's a lot of people fail with that. They use emotions. They see some guy being defiant, and they go they go take him down. They get hurt, and they hurt other people because of that. So it's kind of it's very complicated a question, but it's something that people they can get trained on.
Yeah, no,
it's
for
just
sure.
About going to a scenario.
So I really like that. I like your answer a lot. The reason I like it is, you go through training. We all went through the same training, and sometimes they throw scenarios at you and they want you to do A because A is going to get B. But in reality, when you're on the floor and you're in a pod and you're in the thick of things, A does not necessarily get you B because you have the human aspect, right? So you can't do one thing and expect the inmate or the person that you're dealing with to act in this fashion because they're going to have that human element. They have free will, right? Isn't that what they tell us in the Bible too? We have free will.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we have free will, they're gonna respond different. They may not respond with B. And as a correctional officer, throughout my career, I had to learn to adjust and make those adjustments. You have someone in the pod that's irate, that's upset over the TV. You may have to isolate them, just like Gomez was talking about. You have to assess the situation within seconds because you could lose that pod, you could lose control. And that's the crucial thing. That's the thing that people in the public don't understand, that it's critical thinking and it's critical decision making, and you can't just do A because A is not going to always give you B.
Right.
They might do N,
and
or they might do Z.
Right.
Exactly.
And so with that, what I kind of going to address it to the community. So you want to keep a correctional officer employed. You want experienced officers. If you give them peace officers, if you give them benefits, if you give them more pay, you keep that person working here. So everything's a body of, a mind. You're learning. It's institutional knowledge, I used to call it. So you have an officer who's been there 10 years, and they go because the benefits, or because they're not peace officers, and they leave. That's a person that's gone. You bring a new person, and no fault of their own. They don't know how to handle these situations. Incidents are like reoccurring things. It's the same incident. So once you go with it, you deal with it, you made a mistake maybe, but then the next time you know how to do the right thing. You want to get the institutional knowledge. So it's important to have recruitment, to have the benefits that attract people. And why is that important for the community? Look what happened in New Orleans recently. We had 10 inmates escape. Of course, they got assistance, but maybe some of those officers were new. Some of them were not trained. And 10 murderers escaped to jail. So what I'm saying is the community's interest should be keeping these officers under Fresno Sheriff's, County of Fresno employment. And it could be as simple as emailing somebody and saying, hey, board supervisor, we support these guys getting peace officer. We support these this income because we want that person in the jail because they keep, alleged murderers and rapists in custody safely to be adjudicated in court. And that keeps the community safe. Corrections is public safety.
Yeah.
There's two components. There's law enforcement and there's the retention, the jail, and actually 3 courts. There's 3. The correctionals are part of the public safety, and a lot of citizens don't know that that exists. They don't know there's 500 officers working in the sheriff's department 24 hours, 7. They don't know that. They don't know they get assaulted daily. They don't know things happening. But, you know, you don't want those guys escaping the jail. You want them, you want seasoned officers, and also, too, to act right, not to cause liability and lawsuits, you know.
No, for sure.
How do you get that with experience?
Yeah, no, I think that you touching on the public not understanding and not knowing, I mean, this is 30 and 20 years of experience. So you got to remember, like, with the way you guys talk and the way even I talk 10 years, right? It comes in time, right? And what I guess you can even say let's just be honest. If we had peace officer status, I mean, you probably would be gone. But you think you'd still be there if there's peace officer status?
I would probably still be there if the benefits were a little different. I left part because of the benefits and the pay.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it still pays good. I mean, there's people making good money right now.
Yeah.
Especially with the overtime, they make a lot of money. And, you know, I see those $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 Chevy trucks.
Yeah.
Don't tell me I'm lying. I
Yeah,
see those
no, for
high-end
sure.
Mustangs and Chargers and Challengers, you know. So there is some income being derived in there. And a lot of people say, well, the pension. Well, let me tell you, I work in the public sector now.
Yeah.
In the private sector, where the pension, and you do too, 401k, you know. So somebody works 30 years and the pension, the mutual funds plunge, and they're going to retire. Oops, I got to wait another 10 years. So the pension in Fresno County is guaranteed. The economics can go down, but, you know, for these 22, 23, 25 youngsters, they don't think about pension right now. But I'm telling you, you 23, 24, 25, 26 years, think about pension. Think about future income that's secured, guaranteed. Because when you get old, 52, 53, 54, 55, you're thinking about a secured pension.
Yeah.
And so I was taught that. I started work at the county 22 years. And my park manager said, hey, go apply at this county, you know. I used to work at Pine Flat Lakes Corps of Engineers, and I didn't know anything about a pension. He goes, believe me, that pension's the best thing. And he goes, I'll give you time off, go apply. And I didn't even know what corrections was.
Yeah.
But now, fast forward, I give, thank you, taxpayers, thank you, County of Fresno. I get a guaranteed pension every month. Whether the stock goes down, crypto goes down, it doesn't matter. I'm getting a secured pension.
Yeah.
It's very important because when you get older, you can't work. 60, 70, you say 80, you just can't work physically. Hopefully you live long.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But there's benefits, and I think people, especially the young people, need to understand that benefits, not only just salary, because that's only a part of your component of benefits. It's salary and benefits. It's two. It's not just don't look at the dollars. Look at the benefits that you're going to get from working 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
As a young people, they don't look at that. Young officers, they think, oh, I'm going to go work for the state. Okay, go work, go drive an hour and a half away. The fog will get you before an inmate's get you because it's dangerous. The income's good, but you're away from your family.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So I think income's great, and I totally get it, but you have to look at the whole picture: quality of life, vicinity from your job, commute. Do you want to drive an hour and a half? Woo.
Yeah. No. I mean,
I
drive it. I mean,
no,
I feel like you're attacking me, Corporal. No.
Serious. I mean, but it's a
Nah, I'm messing
consideration.
around.
Yeah. A
but
little kidney shot.
That whole pension thing, man. When I retired, I came from a family that was labor workers out in the fields. I grew up. I worked at a couple packing houses and stuff like that. My parents have no pension other than Social Security, right?
Yeah.
So when I retired, I almost was like blown away when I got my first check, and I was like, I'm really going to get paid, and I don't have to work. It was like a
weird concept.
I just couldn't believe it that I'm going to be getting paid. Yeah. I got a paycheck coming in for the rest of my life.
But you're kind of retired right now.
Correct.
Yeah, you're retired.
Correct.
You're working.
I'm retired, but my concept, my belief's always been is grow, learn, earn, because just because an age doesn't define you stopping working. It should be mental. Like one day I might wake up and say, you know what, I'm done working. I'm physically, mentally done. But I'm learning where I'm at. I work for a great casino. Mm-hmm. I'm learning a new, the gaming commission, doing background.
And you're still doing backgrounds for the sheriff department?
No, not anymore.
Oh, okay.
But also I did that for about a year or two.
Yeah.
So my little side, post retirement has been backgrounds. So I do backgrounds where I work. There's 1,100 employees and new hires. We do backgrounds for the gaming commission, and it's great. You meet new people. You learn from new people. I'm growing still, and I challenge. If you're retired, doesn't mean you're stopped.
Yeah.
And it goes anywhere. At any age, you should always grow and learn. As a new topic, a new challenge, and things like that.
Do you guys golf?
No, that's too
No.
hard.
I mean, a lot of guys
I haven't
say they
learned that.
golf
It's a
when they
very violent
retire.
sport. It's a very violent sport. I tried golfing
It's
once
too stressful.
with my
It's
friends.
competitive.
When I went golfing, it was crazy. My friends were throwing their golf clubs and screaming and yelling. So I was like, man, this sport's violent. I thought it was supposed to be really
I just
relaxed.
barbecue
So
for a holiday, for a trip.
I don't
for-
golf.
for hobby.
I've been fishing a couple of times. I got a new fishing rod that was gifted to me when I retired and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Really nice fishing rod.
Who gave you that?
Well, the guys. I guess all the guys kind of put
Nice.
in for it. And
We had bought a fishing pole. Remember that picture?
Yeah.
We bought a fishing pole and all that. We went crazy, and we haven't gone fishing.
yeah,
Oh, both you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we have a
we
picture of
haven't
us with new poles, and it's a good thought, But I mean, to be honest with you, it's a mindset,
Yeah.
Are you ready to retire? People at different levels, You see people now. What do you do for a living? I sit on the couch. Okay, good for you if you like it. But for me, I'd be like going nervous. I need to grow. I feel like there's more to do in life, to earn, to grow, to serve.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
for sure. When you're definitely in law enforcement, whether it's corrections, deputy,
Yeah.
Park services, I mean, our fishing game, right? Anything to do with law enforcement, you're serving. You're serving
Yeah,
the
you're
community.
serving,
You're serving
and
people.
so yeah. I mean, I kind of wanted to, if you're ready, to touch on my
Yeah.
peace officer.
Whenever you're ready.
So one of the things that before I retired, we ran out of time. Prado and I ran out of time as far as work, So one of the things that we were pushing for is peace officers status for Fresno County Sheriff's Correctional Officers and Sergeants, 2 different groups. We went to Sacramento several times. We met with Assemblyman Rambula. We met with Assemblywoman Hurtado. And we told them, look, we need a bill making correctional officers.
Shannon Grove.
And Shannon Grove, because Shannon Grove was all
She was
willing.
awesome. Yeah.
Shannon Grove. So all of the 3 assembly person, she was Senator Grove. Senator Grove was the only one that wanted to do it.
She's still in office?
Yeah,
Yes,
she's
she's
going
in
to
office.
go to another position. But we met with Assemblyman Rambula twice. One, we hit him up in the floor of the Assembly Hall in Sacramento, and one in his office. And we told him why. And he's our local assemblyman.
Is that Juan Rambla?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dr. Juan Irambla. And so we told him the reason why. And he was, okay, well, talk to my chief of staff. And they ignored us.
Really?
So unfortunately, he doesn't have the desire to help correctional officers here in Fresno County. But I'm going to get political right now. So I'm going to do him.
We're in touch.
But
on
he
it.
does have the time to have meetings with immigrants and help them, protect them from being arrested from ICE. But he can't help correctional officers in Fresno County who die in the line of duty, can't help their families, can't provide a nest egg for them and help their families. And you are a public servant, and that really upsets me. Shannon Grove wanted to do it, but she wasn't our assemblywoman.
Yeah.
We need a local person. So what I'm challenging is, and respectfully, a group of correctional officers who's willing to put their name out there, because people are going to criticize you, and say that you demand peace officers for your people, for you. If you need help, obviously see us. Prado and I will help, because we've been through it. Sacramento, we've been through everywhere. The County of Fresno Board of Supervisors, we addressed it with them. But there's some politics involved here that's prohibiting that. And we'll tell you who and why and what to do.
Yeah.
But we need them to do it because it's something unfinished. And the reason why it affects me still is because of Scanlon. Officer Scanlon was killed in the line of duty. How he could have got help and his kids could have got help in education.
Yeah.
His son just recently graduated from Utah State. But he could have got help to taking care of that. That I think these officers are owed that benefit.
No,
so,
for sure.
we all take, correctional, take a risk, accept the risk, possibly killed.
Yeah.
Right? We take it. But doesn't mean we're okay with it. It doesn't mean that when we die, we want our families to be taken care of. Because that's the biggest concern, especially we have a lot of single women who are correctional officers with 2 kids.
Yeah.
What happens to them? How are they going to be able to fund, all this money for their kids' future? Because education is a piece of paper is is a potential chance to make yourself good, income wise.
Yeah.
So as correctional officers, I challenge just a few of them to step up, and do it, because we're retired. We don't have no skin in the game, but we have a passion that an unfinished business. And I know, like, even Juan Cruz, who passed away from COVID, work related. I talked to his daughter Maddie several times, and she could have got help. A deputy that passed away from COVID, he was peace officer, he got help.
Yeah.
So why is there a discrepancy? Why is there a discrimination for a correctional and a deputy? Why is that?
Yeah.
They do public service. They perform public service. They keep the community safe. They risk themselves. They put the same badge on, same uniform.
Yeah.
Why is that? Well, we can tell you, but it takes a group to do that, and we're willing to help.
So the key thing too with trying to get peace officer status is education, and education to the public as well. So I want to thank you again for having us here, to talk about this topic. It's a sensitive topic.
Before you jump on that, I wanted to touch on this real quick, right? Sure. Because exactly, right? I'm not really a political guy.
Right.
I try not to touch on certain things.
Right.
But where you guys won me over when we had our pre-interview about this was we said we're talking mainly about Corporal Scanlon.
Right.
And that was my corporal. Right. That guy, man, before I came in the class, before I met you, before I, got to know you, that was the guy that put my memo into classification. And when we're pushing about something like this and that it benefits the families, I feel like that's why I want to get political, and I say, okay, well, I want the people to understand this, right? So before you jumped in it, because I'm pretty sure you're going to get very passionate, and I don't want to interrupt you, right? So I just wanted to throw out there. That's why Inside the Pod with Lou at least is saying, hey, go ahead, let's speak on it, because at the end of the day, that was my brother, right? That was my mentor, and I want to be able to say, hey, that's why I'm going to touch on this. Normally, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a man of God, right? I come to my faith, so I believe everything happens for a reason, right? But before we get anything like that, go ahead, Prado. Go ahead and continue what you're gonna say, and then we'll kind of go from there.
So I actually think the public is unaware and does not know or is not educated on the differences between a correctional officer and a deputy, and let alone what benefits are guaranteed to us or awarded to us for our service. I remember when Sergeant Thomas Mendoza. He just
R.I.P.
Yep, R.I.P. He just passed away due to cancer. I went and saw him at the hospital and stuff. It was good to see him. We laughed a little and stuff. Lieutenant Velasco was there. I got to talk to him for a little bit as well. So Tom was a good guy. He was a good guy to me.
Very good guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mentored me and stuff. He taught me a lot. And I was really bothered by one of the Facebook posts that somebody put on the sheriff's department, and he was asking for donations, to try to combat this battle with cancer, and somebody from the public was they weren't very nice. They made some comments in regards to, well, you work for the sheriff's department, don't you get a fat pension? Don't you get this or whatnot? Well, that comes without benefits, man. I mean, I get my pension financially. I'm well, medical wise, we don't get that, so that's something that the public doesn't know. And as far as like care, injuries from work and stuff, if we were peace officers, we could have extended services that could be provided to us and our families. And that's why that peace officer is so important.
After retirement and stuff, and just in general, right?
Correct. Just in general. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the thing about peace officer status. It creates a recruitment. We're talking about recruitment.
Yeah.
So, you have Johnny Smith saying, hey, I want to go over here because they offer peace officer status. They know that what they know kind of what it is. But then once you get in there, you start figuring out there's benefits to this status, and benefits not necessarily to you, to your loved ones.
Yeah.
So when you go to work, you know that you got protection. And let's talk about recruitment retention. Perhaps they'll stick around more. Instead of going in 2-3 years, going to CDC, they'll say, hey, I'm going to stick around here. There's some, opportunity here for me. And so I'm thinking that it's not only economically feasible for the community to give peace officer status to the officers, the county will benefit financially due to retention. And if you're a correctional sergeant, you can promote to lieutenant without going to the academy, which we know now it's a lot of people get injured. And we know now, one of my mentors, Assistant Sheriff Gaddy, would say, it costs $100,000 to put somebody to the academy. Well, guess what? We just paper-wise, we make them as a lieutenant. We save $100,000
Really?
per
Okay.
It
candidate.
saves the taxpayer. The
So-
reason that is because if they send somebody to the academy, take in mind you're going to send Sergeant so-and-so to the academy. We can barely staff the jail as it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to cover that position with overtime while that person is going to the academy,
Yeah.
the cost of the academy,
Yeah.
right? And the length of time, overtime to fill that position, it costs money.
Yeah.
It costs money, and it's real money, and it's taxpayer money. So if you want to save the taxpayers, it's something that
Yeah.
I think that people should jump on board. It's a cost savings all the way around for the county.
Is there something? I mean, I wonder if we can get to the like where they could put it like where the public could vote on it.
So, well, I don't know if it's an issue. It has to be an assembly bill created
Okay.
in Sacramento, but this guy has to be a true representative here to step up. We have to have somebody, with a Democrat, Republican, I'm not trying to be either one, can step up and say, hey, you know what? The men and women of Fresno County Sheriff's Department Corrections and the sergeants deserve safety, deserve benefits, and they need to be somebody to be strong to do that, minus the politics that's going to go against it. We haven't found that person.
So for me, this is a good chance for the politicians to be bipartisan, because this is something that every politician that I've ever listened to that talks, everybody cares about their community. So if you really care about your community,
Right.
how else than public safety, right?
Right.
So if public safety, this is the time for the Republicans and the Democrats both to come together and do a bipartisan bill. And the start is maybe a small county like Fresno. Why not start with like
Yeah, Mono County just got it 2 years ago. Madera County, which is smaller.
Yeah.
We're behind the corrections in Fresno are behind 30 years with this. status.
Why do you think that is? Why do you
Well,
think that they're not
there's an
pushing? Why do you think Fresno's not pushing for this?
There's an opposing group that's association, the leadership, not the membership, the leadership of a local law enforcement group. I'm going to say again, boldface, italics, leadership are against it. And politicians don't want to go against that person. So once again, politics before people, you know? And
Yeah.
you know the old thing where get involved in politics before politics gets involved in you? I believe in that. I'm involved in politics because there is harmful legislation and politicians that are hurtful to our people, to our community, to our children. In this case, to my people. I still care about Craig. I don't even know half of them, 3/4, but I care about their struggles. I do, and so does Prado.
Do you guys still hear like
Yeah.
stories about?
I hear. I'm concerned about injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I keep on hearing people getting injured and
Yeah.
where they end up getting forced retired. So once again, peace officers' status will help them and help their kids, because once they force retire, you only make half your income. So it's so important to me. If they want me to be their spokesperson, like really right now, I would do it. But I need their support because they're the active employees.
Yeah.
Because it's so important to have that. God forbid if it happens again, and it will, because there's a lot of monsters amongst us and people that will do things that you wouldn't believe. And we've seen that can kill somebody, kill officers.
Yeah.
And so they need protection, and they deserve it. And like about 40% of correctional officers are females, and most of them are single moms with kids. Who's going to take care of the kids?
Yeah.
And so, in the politician world, they always care about certain groups and certain demographics. Here's a female, Hispanic, here's a group, Democrats, let's go.
There's a podcaster that I met. This is the crazy part about where I work now. I meet a lot of people, a lot of networking, right? His name is Jimmy Greer, and he pretty much, although this is going to be good for my podcast and good for you guys to get the word out, I think you guys would be amazing for his podcast because his is very political.
Right.
He's in the game right now. He's actually, I was telling you guys, remember earlier, he just interviewed a congresswoman that's doing the sex trafficking right now.
Yeah, Senator Grove.
It could have been her.
Yeah.
Shannon
Grove is probably one of the most sincere, honest, family-loving politician I ever met.
Yeah.
She has always been there for me in a lot of ways. Unbelievable. And Prado, too. We met her several times. I wish we can clone her and put her in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Because
she's a go-getter, too.
Oh, my
Boy.
gosh.
She's hard work.
I had to look into it.
She came out of nowhere. She was a military, didn't go to college. She was a single mom at the time and a small business person, and she created herself.
I feel like if I want to expand my podcast, right, I have to get more involved in the politics and just the news. I don't watch it.
I would recommend it, Louis, because you can do at least county and state,
Mm-hmm.
and if it involves because you're affiliated with law enforcement, public safety. What are the laws coming out of Sacramento that can affect our kids?
Yeah.
Where certain felonies, sexual felonies, are not felonies with kids. What the heck is that about?
Yeah.
People need to know, and a lot of Hispanic people, they don't follow Sacramento because a lot of these bills are done at 2 a.m. You only hear about it once in a while. So there's a lot of things, I think, because public safety is part of any community, even here, like Fireball, like everything starts with public safety. I don't care any neighborhood. If you don't have public safety, you don't have nothing.
Yeah.
You want to have your kids go to school safely. You want your grandma to go to the Panaderia. Hey, by the way, we went to, what was that restaurant we went to? Taqueria
Posadas.
Posada Taqueria and Fireball.
Oh, they were good.
5-star.
They were good.
5-star.
You want
Okay,
you want
respect.
you want your grandma to go to Taqueria Posada, have herself a taco without being bothered.
Yeah.
Stop by there if you're out here
Yeah.
in Kermit.
And then check this out. They have
Fireball.
Fireball.
Sorry about that.
all
Oh,
good,
Fireball.
it's all good.
And they have ice cream on the other side, thrifty ice cream.
Yeah.
They have like 20 flavors. They have more flavors than some of these high-end in Fresno.
I gotta do like a.
Homemade tortilla.
I gotta do like a
tortilla.
little Inside the Pod with Lou pitch video,
Oh,
and you
my
guys gotta be the ones to push it out, man. You guys are good.
Prado
at,
saw that lady make
recruiting.
homemade tortillas.
I was watching her. She was right there, reminded me of my grandmother when she was
Yeah.
cutting out the tortillas.
Yeah, it's a real deal.
The funny part is, I want to make sure that everyone understands this. Is if you're from the area, you know that where they were at is not really a popular restaurant, right? So when he
No.
calls me, well, I'm not saying anything bad about it,
Yeah.
right? But when you call me, normally you'll be like, "Hey, I'm at the Farwell restaurant. Hey, I'm at Don Pepe's, right? Whatever." And you're like, "Hey, I'm at Taqueria Posada." I'm like, "Are you in Farwell?" And then remember, you're like, "Well, does people not come here?" I'm like, "No, they do," because we talk about we call it the ice cream shop, right?
Okay, no. They got the best tripa tacos I've had in a while.
Nice.
Yeah.
They're
And,
Well,
shout out to
and they have lengua too.
Shout out to Taqueria Posadas.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
respect.
The carne asada was good. Sometimes you get a little carne asada taco and it's a little fatty.
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
man. Good cut.
Abuelita in the background in the kitchen was,
She's
and
giving-
she was giving the little girl admonishment. No, that's not the way you do it. She was being instructive towards her. So, abuela in there is
Yeah.
5-star.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk. Okay, so it's kind of funny, Guacho. I want to jump on the topic real quick, a little story, because you were my corporal.
Yes,
I kind of
Louis was my trainee.
Yeah, literally, you were my mentor, man. My day one, as far as I got into the unit, and I gave a video on it. Remember when?
Oh, yes,
the
yeah.
first day, bro. So Bonilla, and he's gonna
Bonilla
come.
was my trainee too.
Yeah, I remember. And he actually ended up being he was the first. We podcasted.
Yeah.
But what we messed up is I forgot to press record.
Que lachi.
So it's not good audio. So, anyways, my first day in the unit, he tells me, I don't even really know him. I think you emailed me.
Yeah.
You're out 1400, and I'm on the schedule, mind you. So he's like, just show up, class office. All right. So I get there at 2:01. He's like, hey, you're late. First day, you're already late. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't. And he's like, I don't want to hear it, So I was like, oh shit. And he goes, where's your binder? I'm like, my binder? I didn't. I remember all he told me was show up 1400. So I didn't. That was my fault for not. This is what you learn about in class, right? You do your homework, you research. What do you need to bring? And this, that, boom, boom. So I learned about day one. You're late, pink box, right?
Pink boxes of delicious donuts.
So it's funny because I still implement that at my shop.
Nice.
If they're late, pink box.
And for all you youngsters going to interviews and first job, bring a tablet and a pen, because nothing irritates them old birds when the youngster comes and says, I'm here. And I'm like, where's your notes? Where's your paper? You can't be that smart to listen to stuff. So bring up a notebook. At least put something on there and make it look good.
Yeah, respect. See, there you guys. We're giving some
Because
some knowledge right here.
that's
30 years of. How long were you a corporal?
25 years.
25 years as a corporal. So there you go.
I have a Corporal Gomez story too.
Oh, nice.
I was fairly new as well. I met him at the satellite jail.
Was he a corporal already?
He was already a corporal.
Oh,
He was
wow.
in the satellite jail at that time.
Nice.
And what's it called? I got to see the compassionate side of corrections. I got to see the hard side where he stood firm when he needed to stand firm. But there's this one particular story. There was a lady that was there in the lobby, and she wouldn't leave. She had all her belongings. She had her baby. It was graveyard shift, and we came on, and the swing shift said, "Hey, this lady won't leave. We can't get her out of here. And so we talked to her. I ended up talking to her because she spoke Spanish and stuff. So I'm translating and stuff. And I told Gomez, I go, hey, she doesn't have anywhere to go. She can't go anywhere. She said she's evicted. So we called her husband, who was there in custody, and we talked to him, and he confirms that she had nowhere to go and stuff. And so she's stuck in the lobby. And just to show you that correctional officers are compassionate people. We're all human beings. We all care. All of us in the satellite jail all pitched in. I don't remember everybody who was there, but I know I was there and Gomez was there. That was a lasting impression for me to Gomez. The first impression that Gomez made to me that was very impressionable, that he was a caring individual. We took money and we put our money together. We got on the phone and made some phone calls, and we pulled some strings and had people actually get her a place at the Poverello House. And even though they were pretty full, the Poverello House said they had no beds. They made the exception, and they got her a place to stay. We had her transported over there and stuff, and dropped off enough money to get a room the following night and stuff with what we put together, and that's what we did. And we did that, because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, no, that's a great story.
So, and that was
a good Gomez story.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, that was that just shows you, all these women and officers. You see the badge, you see these stories. I've known them all personally for a lot of years, and they are very caring, and they give to the community, and it's important to give to the community, especially in your law enforcement, because sometimes your heart gets tainted, and you got to bring light into your heart, into your personality, into your life, because sometimes people get into the badge and the fights and whatever that happens as part of you, but it's not part of you. It's a job. You have to continue with your soul, your persona.
Yeah.
Keep it. And I know Prado and I, we would always volunteer and help communities. We would help communities in Carruthers. I mean, I think we did a bunch of events in Carruthers. We did Christmas events in Carruthers. We did.
Didn't you partner up with someone out there?
Yeah, also Prieto.
Yeah.
So we did that. We went to people's homes and delivered food with the church and toys. We were in Sanger when one of the victims of the that shooting in Mandalay Bay.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of the officers was involved in there.
Oh shoot!
So we did a fundraiser for one of the victims in Sanger. We did a giveaway in inner Fresno. We did a lot of giveaways and helped these kids that were really, really good kids, but they don't really get the opportunities as other kids because no one wants to go into the quote hood.
Yeah.
And so we were in there. We're like Martin Luther King Avenue, man. We're talking to some people, and these kids would come up appreciative. We would give scholarships for $50, and they'd be like so excited.
Yeah, no, I think it's really.
But I think you need to give, man.
It's a big thing.
You have to give.
Especially these. For me, like, okay, you guys coming out to Fireball, right? That means everything to me, man. Like, I mean, I tried to get you guys to come out when I first bought the house. Remember, hey, come out, do house warming. Yeah, pay your way. Where you tell me you're way over there? And
yeah, and I drove today 2 hours to get here.
Yeah, respect.
From where I work far away from my house.
Yeah,
and I said I'm going to come see Louis because I think that message needs to be heard. And it's good, And then Louis, just talk about you, man. I'm really. I see something good, man.
Appreciate it.
I see how you're truthful about yourself. Put yourself out there. And I know that, people criticize everybody nowadays for everything.
Yeah.
And you make yourself like vulnerable. Like, hey, this is what I've done. This is where I come from. And this is how it's changed. And hardly anybody's willing to do that. Everybody hides their bad stuff, their sucio stuff.
Yeah, no, for
and
sure.
And so I want to tell you something, man. I'm proud of you, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm proud of you and your family. You created your career, the things that you want to do, the mission the values, the missions that you create, the vision that you're creating here. And I think it's important that people recognize you because, your Bible verse. I mean, the man, a Bible verse every time, and he's trying to give a message out to people. And man, that's awesome, brother.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
I mean, really. And then I got a nice hat. I got a high-end hat.
Yeah.
Thanks for the hat, by the
way.
way.
Yeah, every guest gets a hat.
I got some good tacos today too,
Yeah.
But anyway, brother, God bless you, man, because the mission and the vision that you have and your story is good. I mean, because we all have things and we're not proud of.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. I don't care if that person thinks that they talk crap about so many people, but inside they're sucios.
Yeah.
They're sucios. And be real about yourself,
For sure.
Fix yourself. And everybody can, and there's always redemption. I always believe in that. And I'll tell you about redemption. I was going to a local church here in Tower. There's a church. And one guy taps me on my shoulder and I turn around. It's one of the guys from the satellite jail.
Oh, shoot.
And he was ex-gang member. you know?
Yeah.
And he comes in there and goes, Mr. Gomez, I want to tell you, thank you for always being respectful to me, especially my daughters, my family, when they come visit me. You know, you really provided a place for them to visit. You want to meet them? And here they am. They came to visit, and they came and met me. And then another guy tapped my shoulder, and it was another felon, you know, and he talked about the satellite too, how it was something that he enjoyed and it was respectful, and we did a job. And I see these people. He goes, "Hey, I'm better now. I'm working. I'm married." So you know, I always see, you know, when you work in law enforcement, you get like these blinders.
Mm-hmm.
There's a real world out there. You know, it could be our family and cousins who are convicted felons, and then the redemption, you know, occurs. So there's redemption everywhere. Judgment, reserve your judgment, you know. And for all those people that talk crap about other people because of what's going on in their lives, just stop it. You know, fix yourself. You know, instead of kicking a man down or a girl down, pick them up, man.
Yeah.
And you know, the people are like that. There's some, and they do that every day. Every time you talk to them, they're like Debbie Downers, man.
Yeah. No.
Talking crap about.
How is it? I mean, you guys 30, 20, 10, right?
Yeah.
So how was it in there? I mean, and sometimes in the jail, it's really negative.
Real negative,
Real
you know?
negative, real negative, real
And
negative.
you know, speaking of the association, I'm just going to quickly just say this, that, you know, sometimes memberships, they get critical of leadership, but just know that leadership, whether it's us or the current leadership, they're trying to do the best they can. They wake up to say, how can I make my members safer and get paid more? That's it.
Yeah.
They don't wake up in the morning and say, how can I take money away from my members and make it unsafe?
Yeah.
And so I think for the membership, you know, if you have an idea or a problem, go talk to them. You know, don't go stab dining and, you know, whisper, you know, just say, hey, this is my issue. How can I help you? And then come with a solution.
I mean, without kind of, I guess, not stepping on any toes, but asking respectfully to you guys, how is the relationship with you guys being the founding fathers and then the new administration? Are you guys okay? Is it not
Well,
okay?
so-
Do they ask
so-
you guys for advice? Do you guys give advice? Are you willing to give advice? Or
Well, I'd be willing to give advice
Right.
to anybody. You know, the thing is I'm glad you brought that up. I'd like to talk a little bit about
Yeah.
the history on how we came to
Yeah,
be.
I think
you
that
know?
For sure.
to start from the
So-
beginning.
kind of gets us, you know?
Page
Yeah.
one.
Yes,
So
sir.
page one, you know, I was a rep for SEIU originally. You know,
So that was the original union.
Yeah.
that was the
Okay.
original
Large
union,
union.
Service Employees International Union. They're a big monster, man. They're very politically tied. In the beginning, I think that they were good. They were okay, you know, as far as looking out for what our needs were. The problem came when they became that everybody became a closed shop. And when they became a closed shop, they lost interest because they were a money generating machine, right? And so their whole focus was on retrieving money and getting money for the federal level for their political agendas. Well, Gomez and I met during the recession time, and we had talked about maybe breaking away from SEIU, and we decided to push that agenda. There was other people involved: Paul Haros, David White, Isaac Torres, Cunha. We had a big following, a large group of people that were David White. You know, we had a lot of people that were pushing for us to succeed in this. And the reason that we were pushing for this agenda is we wanted to bring things back local. You know,
Yeah.
we talk about local politics. That's what we wanted. We didn't want to get involved in Washington, D.C. We wanted to get involved in our community, our county, our city, you know, the things that affected our workers, our employees, you know, maybe state level, you know, things that are going to affect us here at our state.
Yeah.
So that was the start. And that's where we
When you say recession, what year was that?
that was 2010, right?
Right.
2010.
So that was the initial start process.
Correct. We
Okay.
started-
Yeah, there was economic issues. So in County of Fresno, like 2 or 3 people out of 10 were unemployed.
Okay.
Massive layoffs,
Yeah.
not only in the county but public sector.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead. Yeah.
So it was right around the time the sheriff's department laid off people for the very first time in
Yeah.
history. You know, people were laid off.
Yeah, like
for
red
the
tags,
news.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was news coverage. I'm sure if you Google it, you
Yeah.
could see some of that. You had correctional officers crying for their
Walked out
jobs and
the back of the jail.
Yeah, it was terrible. But that was kind of the start for everything. That's when me and Gomez stood at a SEIU meeting and we told them we weren't walking. You know, 'cause
They wanted us to
they
go on
wanted us
strike
go on
in the
strike.
worst economic recession ever.
So everybody was being cut. Everybody was being cut across the country.
Right.
There wasn't just one particular place. It wasn't just the county of Fresno. And I think that's where I think leadership in any type of organization that you're running has to be aware of what is going on in the country, right? What is going on? Right? Is this something that's just affecting you at a local level, or is this
Right.
something that's
Absolutely.
affecting everybody? How are you going to sit there and ask everybody in the all the citizens, all the constituents, everybody's going to be suffering because of this recession, right? And then you're going to sit there and say, we're going to go on strike because we want more money. Well, everybody needed money at that time.
Everybody needed a job.
Everybody
Just
needed a job. There was no job.
Right.
People were getting laid off. Look at even our people suffered from
Right.
cuts. So I thought it was a bad time for us to strike. It was not a good time for us to strike, and that's actually what triggered and started our movement
Right.
to decertify from SEIU. And that took like 5 years, man. 5 years, 3 votes, right?
2 votes.
2 votes. So
A lot of fights.
definitely a lot of fighting.
So 2015 is when it went through.
No, yes.
Yes,
So it's 16. Well, the final vote was 2016.
16.
So it took us 5 years, and it took a lot of fighting. Local. You know, the SEIU is one of the biggest corporations, the unions you wouldn't imagine, and it was a big group. First, we just wanted correctional officers out because we're part of a multi-group unit too, and they said, "Nope, you can't go." But we knew 90% of us wanted out. He goes, "You're not allowed to go."
So we lost.
So we lost that vote.
Yep.
So now we had to create a decertification of a whole unit of 1,100 people of different classifications. And how do you do that? How do you communicate to them? So me and Prado were meeting with child support reps, the leaders. All of them were mostly SEIU leaders, but they came to my team.
Oh wow.
So like Jerry Nowak
Little by
from child support, she became one of the founders. Security, your friend, security that you retired.
Flores.
Rudy Flores was one of ours. Juvenile corrections, Monica Noriega. She was SEIU. They came to us. All these people, how you create it is you sit and talk. This is what we want. This is we can promise this, and they go, "Dang, that makes sense," you know. And they didn't even share our political values. They were probably different, but they shared our views on what an association should do.
Yeah.
So we won. We won the first time, and there's some shenanigans in Sacramento. We had to do another revote.
Right.
So we beat them twice. Nowhere in the history of SEIU had they been beaten by any group on a campaign in the history of SEIU.
And these two guys were able to pull it off.
Right. How do you do it? By
Awesome.
talking.
Exactly.
How do you do it? By tolerating criticism, flyers. They would go to our work site and put flyers against us.
Said we were unreliable,
Yeah.
unproven,
Lying. They go to people's homes and tell them we're liars. It was an assault on us. But like anything, when you get pushed, stressed, what happens? You learn.
Yeah.
You grow.
Exactly.
So the next time they do that to you, all you do is yawn because you're like, I've been there, whatever. You know, I remember talking to Sheriff Mims at the time. Sheriff, man, they're hammering us, man. Membership, the union, everybody. And I was looking for compassion. Like I was like, oh, you know, you'll get better. No, you know what she told me? Welcome to leadership. She told me, and she smiled.
Wow.
That was it. Welcome to leadership. Leadership equals criticism, equals stress, equals a lot of pain. People don't get that because you can be sitting on a chair talking crap about somebody, and you'll never get that level of stress. You'll never grow. But you're willing to be behind the doors talking crap and criticizing somebody for doing something right, but they'll never grow. That person stays stale. And we grew. Prado and I grew. We were like, okay, what's next? You know, where's the arrows coming? Let's take them out, throw them away.
Yeah.
You create a leader sometimes by how you treat them too. And so SEIU taught us a lot of stuff. Yeah.
It was very tough, man. It was a tough time going through all of that. I learned a lot too. Thanks to this guy and management, believe it or not. Some of the supervisors from the jail and stuff taught me a lot, quite a bit actually. I learned to grow, man. I learned to grow. I did a lot of reading, a lot of self-educating, in order to learn policies and procedures. I was already really good with the policies and procedures of our jail. You know, I knew in like the back of my hand. You know, I kept up with policy and procedures, and so I mean that was a big help and stuff. But anytime that I could read anything that to do with policies or rules and regulations, that's what I did. You know, in order to try to achieve what we needed to achieve.
Yeah, we'd be up till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock talking.
Just about
You know?
anything.
My truck, we drove my truck. I still got my old Toyota truck. I drove it to Sacramento. I drove it all over the valley, the state. I put so many miles on that thing. I bought so much. So when I met with people, I bought beer and wings. If you want to meet with somebody, buy beers and wings. They'll be your friends. So much so that SEIU started calling me an alcoholic. He goes, hey, all these pictures on social media, because I'm buying beer and wings.
Beer and wings.
But beer and wings is a good thing to talk. It's and so that was my thing. Is like I bought so many beers and wings.
And that was with no budget. That was
my buddy,
was
my
his
money.
Yep.
My truck mileage, my gas. Yep. Nobody reimbursed me.
Yeah.
But we did it. Why? Why did we do it, Prado? Why did we get an association focused for members?
Well, we wanted change. We wanted change for everybody as well as ourselves. You know, we had skin in the game as well. You know, I mean, my family stems to benefit from any changes that would come, you know. Right. So that's what was in it for me. That's why I took the reins. And if you want change, you have to be involved. You have to get involved. And that's the only way that you're going to influence change is to get involved, not just sit there and point the finger, or not just sit there and complain. Like Gomez said earlier when we were talking, don't just come with a problem, come with a solution. And that was actually the Sheriff's Department motto. Some of the stuff that I've done throughout the 20 years of my career, and let alone with the association, and that has formed me to be the person that I am now, is also from the Sheriff's Department training. Right. Because that was the motto in the Sheriff's Department. When I first started, they had that Sarah Project thing. You know, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they used to have a thing called the Sarah Project. So if you had an issue with something in the jail or a policy or something like that, or you felt like you had an idea to do something a little different, a little better, they wanted you to do this thing called the Sarah Project, where you outline the whole problem and look for different solutions and present it that way. You know, don't just come with the problem, come with the solution.
Which is the best way of handling any problem with anybody. You know, instead of, social media warriors. I love... How many Facebook warriors out there? There's a lot of warriors. And then you walk by them and they say, what's up, brother? Yeah. I'm like, come on, man. Stick to being a warrior. Don't be a warrior. Be a communicator, you know?
Yeah, it's funny because it reminds me of, like, when you're talking about Facebook warriors. Do you guys watch... There's a guy named Creeper. You guys are he's kind of real popular.
Yeah, he's funny.
Did you see when him and a guy are walking in and they're talking about that guy being internet banging? Yeah. And then he's like, "Hey, let's go check up on this homie right here, right?" And then he goes up and, "Hey, homie, what are you doing? You internet banging?" He's like, "No." Oh man. And then he goes, "Let me get a picture, bro. I'm a big fan, right?" And then take a picture. And then Creeper's like, "Oh, I'm just tripping, blah blah blah." And then walks away. And then he's like, "Not funny in person, not funny in this, blah blah blah." You know? And then it was just, and that's funny because people like. They'll literally talk like, you know, we used to call them, well, in the jail we call what? Window warriors.
Window warriors.
You know?
Yeah. Don't be a window warrior in your life, bro. I mean, that goes for anybody, you know.
Yeah.
And then, I would think about that and I go, these people have kids. They have parents that are proud of them, but they don't conduct themselves to bring respect and, for the family and the kids, just talking crap. And it could be somebody going through some tragedy or did mistakes.
Yeah.
And they're talking crap about them. Like, why? Why? I just understand it. And then it's the same people. It's the same person talking every day. Every time you interact with them, you walked away because that gray cloud was with them.
Yeah.
And I'm asking myself, why are they like that? It's because they allowed them to be part of the jail versus being.
And then, because you guys seem like you still have passion about the association and still like it never left, right? So I guess the question would be like, you 30 years, you probably much had to go because time, right?
Yeah, I we created something that was never, ever done in the county of Fresno. We just certified 1,100 members from a major union. And like I said, it's never been done even probably in any time in the history of SEIU. And just to give you a quick little rundown, because of our movement, Santa Clara employees, court employees, they came to us and said, hey, we need the guidance. They decertified. That was 500 members. Then Morgan Hill School District, they contacted us. We gave them guidance. They decertified. There's a group in LA that was going to decertify.
Yeah.
They're still going at it. San Diego, same thing. Recently, not even 2 weeks ago, ex-employee that works in another state, he wants to create an association. He wanted my help, so I'm going to help them. So it's just crazy. We got so many calls. Palo Alto was going to decertify.
Oh, wow.
So it became a big thing because people love self-governance. That's what I call it, self-governance.
Yeah.
So the ability to govern yourself without big daddy watching you.
Yeah.
So my thing is, when I needed an attorney with this other union, when there was a critical incident, when an inmate passed away, I went to my SCIU and said, hey, I need a lawyer because they're going to, interview you.
Mm-hmm.
We don't provide that.
So I'm gonna take you full circle right now.
Okay.
We talked about Scanlon, right? So the trying time for the association, for me, for Gomez, was the Scanlon shooting in 2016. We had just taken off with our own association,
Brand new.
budget, brand new, and the shooting happened. And we went to work. And we went to work right away. We went into fundraising. God bless all the public, all the general public
Right.
that came to our aid, that donated,
Prayed.
all the other associations that came and donated and stuff and helped out and pitched in with work and everything else. I'm very grateful for everybody who did that.
Big shout out to the community. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
A lot of love, man.
It took the community to really help the Scanlon family and Juanita Davila as well.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Davila
Yeah.
family.
Shout out to Davila.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful for them, but that was our big test as an association. For me, it was very emotional. Scanlon was my friend. Davila was my friend. And so it was tough. It was tough. And that's where my passion kind of came in, and it really solidified my position where this is what I want to do. I want to make a difference. I don't want this. If this was to happen to somebody else, I want them to have the advocates to advocate for them, the people to be able to go and say, hey, we're going to help your family. We're going to help your family through thick and thin. This is what we're going to do. We're going to help raise money. We're going to help do this. And so that was big for me. And giving back to the community, to thank the people that came forward and stuff was also big. That's why we started to get involved with community programs. And it's also healing mental health for the officers. So when we did this association, Gomez and I sat down and we talked, and our plan and our vision of the association was, membership, representation, both contractual as well as safety and wages. That was number one priority. And then mental health was another one, right?
Right.
And then what's it called? Public service was the other one. That kind of ties in with the mental health. So we opened up a private gym we started it. Nico and Calvert, when they took over, they finished it and were able to open it. Unfortunately for us, we started it and were able to put the pieces together during COVID. Got a lot of criticism for that, but it's for mental health. It's for mental health, and it's
Part of your union dues, free membership. Which law enforcement group has that?
Yeah.
No, it's part of your dues. This is a benefit. Mental health, physical health.
Would you guys say that Scanlon incident took? Because you guys were pretty much involved from the beginning. Would you say that
we're getting membership. We're actually starting association and helping officer's family of five kids.
Would you say that kind of like made you guys kind of, when that was all said and done, like, okay, I'm done, I'm retiring, my mental health is pretty?
No.
No.
I still we both stayed.
Because that was a lot. I mean, I think there's some officers that didn't come back from that. Prior, obviously, than Davila, she was actually involved, but other officers that seen it, that they went out.
Yeah,
I
was there. I was there when it happened, and I was part of it.
I had left that morning.
Yeah,
and I had to go back on B2s.
It was very traumatic for a lot of people. A lot of people, still have the scars of that incident, and that's another thing. Mental health is a big aspect of it, and not just that incident. I mean, somebody assaults you, an inmate assaults you. I've talked to officers. I've been in ER talking to officers when they got assaulted.
Yeah.
And they're very upset, crying, And then, of course, you ask them, in front of other people, are you all right? And they say, quote,
yeah, I'm good.
They say the quote, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. So another thing, if somebody says I'm good, don't believe them.
Yeah.
You go beyond that. You go and give them a hug. You go and take them to lunch. You don't say, when somebody says I'm good, especially if they've been assaulted, it's very traumatic. Or if they've seen something that's very traumatic. I'm good. that doesn't mean nothing. You make the 2 or 3 different contacts with that person.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference. It really does. Multiple people we dealt with that had I'm good, and we had to sit and talk to them. Yep. Prado started when before we retired. Code 9 Project was a monthly meeting for mental health. You come in there, no names. We have a topic every month and talk about certain issues. You can share your story, your stress of the month, and we had a professional in the office discussing.
You had that, Prado?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow, that's
Code
amazing.
9
I didn't even know
Yeah.
that.
So Code 9 came from Sacramento, and actually, I believe Paul Haros is actually.
Yeah, it's actually derived from Paul Holler.
Oh, nice.
Paul Haros is the one that.
Shout out to Sergeant Haros.
Yep.
Yeah, retired Sergeant Holler.
Retired.
Yeah, he brought that.
We got to bring him on.
Yeah, he brought that in there, and we actually donated Code 9 Project. We did a fundraiser, went to Sacramento and donated, but it was a monthly meeting. But of course, COVID, we're doing good. You know, we're having, and not only correction, it was deputies coming.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it was like unity, man. But
No.
dang, COVID got us. You know?
I think, okay, so I'm going to tell you right now, there's an officer currently going through pretty much like a retirement process, right? And his thing was, the other day he was talking to me about, he's like, well, there's just not, you can't really go on and speak. You can't give, there's no one to talk to. Right. And I feel like when I left there, I wasn't nowhere the mindset that I am now, obviously, right? And coming with, when you push God and you can have God's word and you know that you're pure at heart, right? I feel like that's what I want to give back. So obviously getting into this education part, if I go and teach at this high school, having you two out as resources to come out and speak to these kids, that's where it starts, right? And not only that, for me, I want to give back, starting with the podcast. But if and I'm gonna announce it right now, if anybody in the jail, anyone in corrections, anyone who needs to have someone to talk to, I'm in no area to judge, right? The beauty of my story is I've been at the top when I sat there in a room where you guys made certain calls when we did remember we used to do the picking, you go pick? Bro, I was with you, lieutenant, sergeants, I was next in line. There it is, right? And I'm with all the big dogs of the jail. And I remember people coming up to me like, dude, you're next, right? Yeah. And then I went from that one day to the next day I was nothing. Completely not even allowed at the door.
You're always something, brother.
No, but I mean, okay, I like that.
Correct.
But I mean, okay, as far as
your mentor, I'm correcting you.
Thank you. See, I appreciate that. But I meant at least as far as the leadership role
Things
at that point
occurred in your
life. And so what I'm trying to say is, it could happen there.
Right. No.
And I think you touched on it perfect. Was it who was it? Matter of fact, I'm lying. It was earlier Chavez because I had 2 interviews today. He told someone that had made a comment, was like, you're one beer away, you're one, having a glass of wine, going home, having an accident, and now your life has changed.
Right.
You're going to go be an inmate now. Because any moment, we're one bad decision away from
absolutely
being in their shoes, right?
Yeah.
And I think when you get in that situation, we're human. We're officers. You're young.
Right.
A lot of this is not even in there no more. They're like, I think, the other day we were talking, I think less than 5% of OT or 1 OGs.
Yeah, they don't know the history. It's good to know the history of where your association, because obviously you spend 12-hour days, so it's good to know how it came to be.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they're missing that because you have to understand where you're at. So for going back to association, the dues, we ended up reducing the dues on the spot less because we figured, no, we don't want to take more money. We want to take less money.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. We reduced the dues. What's 1. 2, we promised, Prado and I promised that if you need an attorney and if it's serious, we got an attorney. And we would spend thousands of dollars on attorneys. Before, you wouldn't get an attorney, you get a rep. You get some guy on the street, some coworker that would say, I'm going to rep you. What does that do?
Yeah.
So we provided attorneys from Sacramento to a lot of officers that needed it.
That's actually really helpful because when you run into an incident at a job and you don't have representation, you realize.
That was part of your dues.
So,
we did the gym. We provided a service for you to go to the gym. We had a full boxing ring in there one time.
Yeah.
And then 4th, if life happened, incident, accident, death, cancer, we would help your family.
Yeah.
Bar none. No, it doesn't matter who you were. And not just correction officers, juvenile correction, security.
Anyone that was a member.
Full standing member.
Full standing member.
So it wasn't just a representation. We called it an umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
We were an umbrella because we never had that umbrella.
Yeah.
And we created that umbrella. And so the young people now need to know that it wasn't for a few men and women from different groups that came together and created this. They would not have an umbrella. Like I recently learned they had, one gentleman had cancer and he did a fundraiser. Well, that barbecue, we went to Bakersfield and got it, and we did fundraising for that too. So once again, the umbrella. That officer needed an umbrella. I don't even know who this young man is, but apparently he has cancer.
Mm-hmm.
They did a fundraiser for him. I'm glad to see that because that was our whole mantra. That was our whole mission.
Yeah.
Is to provide an umbrella when life happens, work happens. God forbid you die in line of duty, we'll be there for you. That's unheard of.
Yeah. So respect to all the people for FCPSA executive board now, for taking the reins and being able to try to continue that legacy. I know we set the bar pretty high. I feel like we set the bar pretty high. I know we had some criticism regarding barbecues and gives back to staff and stuff like that, but we wanted to give back to the correctional officers. We wanted to give back
the whole membership,
to everybody. We went to JJC, barbecued for them. We barbecued for the jail.
Our tailgates. We had tailgates for all our members at Fresno State.
Yep.
We barbecued for all members came.
All members
and
were
their
welcome.
kids came.
Yep.
We went so far as the OG retirees.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't invite them to tailgate. Why? Because we respect our elders. We respect people that have been there before us and taught us. So we'd had everybody that's retired over there. And that's the thing is that I need to see that more. Not just talking about me, but in everywhere, and you're doing it. The elders, the people who have done time, then they all have value because they've been through the mess. They made the mistakes and they may have value for people to hear.
Yeah.
But we brought in the retirees because we thought you are part of our team.
And just remember, if you guys come across any retiree that wants to come on and talk, and now that they have time and they want to, give a story or two,
but make sure you take them to that taco place. Tell them first go eat at taco Posada Taqueria.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But
I would definitely do that.
I think it's obviously respect to the group, but to the membership, be respectful to these groups, the leaders, and to the leaders, step up, step out. It's a
hard role,
It's a critical role, and you're going to get criticized, but it's okay. Get criticized because you can't be in the dark. You got to be in the light sometimes and take it.
Yeah, those give backs were to try to bring a positive light to the corrections, both from the public's perspective that corrections is not isolated and that we care about the community, and that's why we got involved with like Big Brothers Big Sisters. We got involved with.
I remember that.
We got involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters. We had the largest group in the state of California involved from. Cause they had a program called Bigs in Blue, right? Mm-hmm. So that they were encompassing all law enforcement agencies, trying to get law enforcement personnel to get involved in mentoring a child.
Right.
And so
nice.
We pushed that agenda and really tried to
You're in briefing.
See it, yeah.
Every briefing, he was in briefing.
I remember.
Yeah.
And then we had the highest participation in the state of California. We beat LA Sheriff's Department. Okay, I'm going to say it again. We beat LA Sheriff's Department in forms of men and women mentoring kids.
Correct.
That's who does that?
Yeah, no.
That's kudos to the group, and then Prado's one that brought the group in.
We placed first in the state, I believe, and second in the nation.
Second in the nation.
Second in the nation.
As far as participation.
Nation.
That's awesome.
How many kids got better for that time?
Yeah.
And as a result of that, there was somebody chosen to be Man of the Year.
Like an officer?
Victor Prado.
Victor
He
Prado.
became Central Valley Big Brothers Big Sisters Man of the Year.
Wow. Congratulations, sir.
He didn't even know.
I didn't even know about it.
He didn't know about it. This is how real quick rundown. So, I told him, hey Prado, we're having a dinner at Big Brothers. You need to go. He goes, okay. He didn't know anything about it. So he's there, his wife's there, I'm there. We're all eating real quick, and then suddenly they go to the podium. And they start talking about this man that's created this massive following and mentoring and unbelievable energy, and he's helping the children of the Valley, Central Valley, not just Fresno County, Central Valley. And this and that. And I looked at Prado, dang, I go, Prado, who is that guy? And he goes, man, whoever it is must do good. And they go, I'd like to introduce you and congratulate Victor Prado. I got the video. Wow. He didn't know anything about it.
That's cool.
Board supervisors were there. Everybody was there. And it was well received and well deserved. I mean, these kids don't have anything. They have foster care.
It's a bigger message than that, though. What's it called? A big shout out to Big Brothers Big Sisters and everybody who contributes and donates to that organization.
Yeah. Diane.
They make a very, very big impact in the community. And I felt like it was healing for the correctional officers, not just to see all the negative environment that they're in,
right,
but to do good on the outside, something that's rewarding, that you see actually something that's in front of you that can bring change to your life, it brought change to mine.
You had a big,
My little that I had, Felix was his name. He was a really good kid. When I challenged everybody to come on board and take a little and take that challenge, it's a 1-year commitment. And I thought to myself, well, I can't tell everybody to do this. I got to put my money where my mouth is. So I went to the office and I said, hey, I'm going to sign up. I want to be a big brother. And so I did. And when I met with the young lady that was, she would take a profile of you and your hobbies and what you like to do and stuff. And I said, forget all that. I go, which one is your hardest kid to deal with? I go, that's the one I want. And she goes, really? And I go, yeah, really. And that's what they gave me. They gave me Felix.
Yeah, I remember him.
And to be honest with you, he's a really good kid.
Right.
He was just kind of misunderstood, you know. And I spent a lot of time with him and stuff. I'd go to see him at lunch at school and stuff. We'd play basketball. The principal was great at the school because they'd give us little extra time, and we'd shoot hoops out there and stuff, and we'd eat. Sometimes I'd bring food from the outside, and we'd eat other than school lunches and stuff, you know. And then we started having get-togethers on the outside, you know, outside of just school and stuff like that. And it grew to be a good relationship and stuff. Unfortunately, I was tasked with so much and stuff, taking care of the association and
work, life, family,
my own family as well and stuff. And you know, eventually my time ended. You know, time ended.
It was great.
No contact with him anymore to this day.
I have not reached out to him. I haven't talked to him and stuff. But I did. I was involved for about 3 years with him.
What grade was he in at this time?
He was. He started out. I think he was 5th grade when he started.
Right. So he's about my son's age. He's a freshman then or no?
Probably, yeah.
Wow.
But it really helped a lot of kids, especially a lot of kids are foster kids. And they just go to foster home and they give them a plastic bag with their clothes and they move them from foster home to foster home. People don't realize that.
Wow.
So that's why we provided sometimes backpacks for the Bigs and Brothers,
right,
because they would just give them garbage bags and go, here's your...
Maybe if you guys are interested, or if you guys are so involved in that, you can let me know. And when Inside the Pod with Lou starts getting a little bigger, man, I want to give
Yeah,
back.
we can have Diane, who's the executive there.
Maybe we can even bring her on.
She would be great to have.
And then we can get it, because I'm telling you right now, okay, so if I get this Mendota job, I'm going to involve. That's why I'm saying I want to stay, you know, well contacted with, you know, your connections, and I don't want to burn no bridges. And when I come on, I tell people, like, I'm never gonna sit here and talk bad about my department, you know, because we talked about it in the garage. There's a person, and I'll say his name, you know, Duran. He you know, accepted me back. I always respect Duran,
right?
You know, and he's pretty much the main person when it comes to the jail now.
Assistant sheriff now.
You know, assistant sheriff, right? Woo. It's a lot of respect. And I mean, I met him when he was, I think he was a corporal.
He was my trainee.
He was a regular.
3 years. That's a true story.
No, you told me that. I remember. He
grew up to be look what he grew up to be.
Yeah, no.
Good man though. No, seriously.
No, and I never had
Seriously,
anything bad
really
with Duran. Duran's always been good with me. We've always talked. You know, like I said, when I came to my incident, he even told me, like, I know you'll be back. You know, I know you'll do good. And like I said, I have nothing bad to say. So I wanted to clear that up, because we talked, and you're like, I know I do definitely need to reach out, and I will, because if I do get that job, I gotta have ties.
Right.
Like, because it's not about me. It's about kids like Felix.
Bridges.
It's about kids like
Create
his
bridges.
big brothers, big sisters. I have officers reaching out to me right now. Like I told you guys, Phil Chavez just came on this morning. There's other OGs that have reached out.
What is he up to?
He's retired. He just bought a 2025 Corvette.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was a little excited.
Midlife crisis.
Yeah.
No,
So now he was, and he has 30 years of stories.
Good for him, man.
We could have sat
Enjoy
here.
your life, man.
We could have sat here and talked. Like, I'm pretty sure, like right now, we could talk.
I remember Phil when he was a kid over there at off Ventura. He lived off Ventura by the bakery right there off of Whitey's Pet Shop.
Oh,
He used to live
okay.
back there.
Okay.
And we'd be out there having a couple after work, you know.
It's funny because he would always tell me, dude, everyone that was like well, look at Duran was his trainee. So everyone that was bosses, he'd be like, oh, that was my trainee. Or, oh, I know. I knew him when he was a baby.
Good for him. I hope he enjoys what color?
Red.
Oh, red Corvette.
No, I'm like orange and black.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
giant
good for him.
colors.
Enjoy. If you're hearing Phil, enjoy your life, man.
I think
Respect.
the color red is faster. I'm kidding. That's a little long.
Well, see, what I'll do is, look, I'm gonna do like an end of the year barbecue. Everyone that came on my podcast. So maybe
I'll bring
you guys,
cigars.
Maybe you guys are able to come.
Okay.
You guys can link up. Phil will come on because he was here technically, and then you guys will meet everyone else.
I'll bring
other people.
cigars.
There's one girl I went to high school with her, dude, and she has an addiction story, and it was really good that she overcame, right?
Yeah.
She was telling me it got to one point where the cops would be like, "Oh, she's 5150, she's gone."
Yeah.
Remember we would get those in the jail all the time.
Right.
Right.
And then I remember one time, I won't say the inmate's name specifically, but it was an inmate that used to come in, always go to safety cell, and you were like, "Hey, are you in Hades?" Because remember he was just like,
Oh, yeah.
gone,
Yeah.
and real almost possessed.
Yeah. A lot of devil.
Now that I've gotten really in the word, like I'm pretty sure back then
It
I would
altered,
actually, yeah,
it altered her life.
It was
The devil
different.
come in, yeah. Yeah, it's sad that sometimes I would be in booking and these young girls, come in there cussing me out, like literally cussing me out. I'm a dank blank this. And then the mom would call inquiring about her daughter. And the mom would be begging for me not to release her from custody.
Wow.
And overcrowding, that that I need her to live. Please keep her, because I don't know if she's going to die in the streets. So when parents are involved with drug addicted kids, talk about stress. You don't know where they're at. If they're on the streets, they might be, injured and victimized. But in the jail, quote, they're safer. And I always say, sometimes the best rehab is a jail cell.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like proponents of get them out and rehab on the streets. But you go to the hood where the same stuff's happening and you get lured into it and you do it again. So once again, I believe a jail cell is the best rehab sometimes.
Yeah. No.
And we would support breaking the chains.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking the Chains is an organization in Fresno that gets women that are trafficked
Okay.
and supports them. So if they have a lady that wants to be let go, free, drug free, they have secret homes here in Fresno, and they'll keep them there to get rehab and provide them services. And they actually have them to homes in secret areas around the different state areas.
Oh, wow.
Because the pimps know where they're at, so they move them to different counties.
There was also a place called Molly's House that did that.
Molly's
stuff
House
too. We helped them as well. So.
And so really quick on that, you being in classification, you talk to some girl, and she come in, obviously dressed as a worker.
Yeah.
And you would kind of get a little bit judgmental, to be mild, because you're like, she's, But one time I went to their luncheon and they had a testimony of somebody that had been trafficked. This lady told us, she goes, just know I didn't wake up this morning and wish that I was a prostitute or a drug addict. I woke up thinking like, where am I going to be safe? I'm going to live. But I had a drug addiction. I don't want to live this life. But because of my drug addiction, this is the life I have. And I'm being mentally and physically abused by these people. And it was a hard testimony, man.
Yeah.
And when I came back after that, it changed my whole perception.
Oh, yeah. How you thought
Because
about it.
once again, we have perception, but we need to get out there and learn. That we attended these things because you grow. If you're stuck in your home on the couch talking crap, you'll never grow.
Yeah.
You got to get out there and be involved in the community. You got to learn, talk to folks with addictions and listen to their story.
Yeah.
Help children like Prado did from foster care, that in their lives, all they have is a garbage bag. That's pretty sad, man.
Yeah. No, it's not.
That's not even hard for me to even say that, man.
Yeah. No, it's
That a
not.
kid, all they have is a garbage bag with 2 pants and 2 shirts and living in a home that's, and Prado wanted to change that. That's tough.
No,
It's
really is.
It's raw, but it's tough. And I think that we all, including myself, need to give more, especially in law enforcement, give more. Whatever, in every capacity you can.
Yeah.
Because I think if you give into that life of just going to work and wearing those, tatted out and tight shirts and, trying to be macho, it's not going to get you nowhere, bro.
Yeah, one of the things I learned in the jail was, everybody's got a story, right?
Yeah.
Both inmates and staff. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a background. And when I say background, they have a background of something good, bad, whatever it may be, in life in general, right? And some of these inmates respected some of the staff that they respected for what they did in the community. Some of us as correctional officers, there's a lot of correctional officers that do mentoring, coaching. They coach basketball, they coach football, they coach baseball. And these gentlemen that come into county jail, some of them are bad decisions, bad choices. It's not necessarily that everybody grows up and says, hey, I want to be a bad guy, I want to be a gangster, this is what I want to do, And I think that they have a sense of respect and understanding because a lot of these people have children, they have kids, and when They find out who the coach is, because you're not going to hide it. You're not going to you can't hide it from anybody. You're coaching. You're out there in the public's eye. You're doing stuff that's good for the community, good for their kids, for in people's kids that are serving time. So when they come into county and they come into the jail and they see you as a CO and they're like, I know him, right?
Right.
It changes the dynamics in that conversation. And sometimes when we were talking about 30, 20, 10, right? And we talk about how you interact with the inmates, sometimes it's that conversation that opens things up. Sometimes it's that this inmate knows that guy. And so then he knows that CO. So inmates are giving him a hard time, or, whatever the case is. And he may have some clout in the pod, and he may say, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, he's cool, man. He's cool. And so they'll listen to that one inmate that might have a little bit of influence, and it changes your influence in the pod. And then let alone reputation, and how you develop your reputation, how you treat people inside the jail, inside the community, that develops your reputation. So then wherever you are, on whatever floor you are, once you develop a reputation of a good officer, fair, firm, concise, right? Where you have those qualities about you, these inmates will respect you, because they know where they stand with you. You're not going to falter. You're not going to change. You're not flip-flopping from one thing to another. Yes, today, no, tomorrow, maybe the next day. You're the same.
Yeah.
You're the same all the time. And they need structure. And when you provide that structure as a correctional officer, right, and you give them that structure, that's what gains you respect. And they respect that, right? They can respect you for that.
Yeah.
And so then you come to a floor, hey, get on your bunks, man. They get on their bunks. They don't question, because they know you're not going to be unfair about the things. To go in there and rack up an entire pod because there's an issue and leave them down for 8 hours when it's a one-on-one, and you know who the one-on-one is, deal with the one-on-one. Pull them out. Deal with those issues, right? Let everybody else go to their regular program and do, continue their visits once you have everything in order, right? Not just because you want to lock them down, just because you want to lock them down. Those are some of the things. Every situation is different. Obviously, if you have a riot or you have multiple fighting and stuff, and you're trying to investigate, you don't know who it is. You got to keep everybody down, locked down until you're investigating. Whoever's investigating, whether it's population management or whatever the case is. But those are the things that develop your reputation in a jail.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I think talking about community service, I remember Mark Martinez, he's still working there. He was a football coach.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would, I remember he had a Suburban, and he had these kids that lived, downtown Fresno, in the hood, And what he would do, he would coach those kids. He would take them to practice, and then he would drive them back home in the middle of the night, 8, 9 o'clock. And he would do it for these kids. And then, unfortunately, some of them would be at the jail, they come in later on, and they would call him, hey, coach. And I go, who's that? He goes, that was one of my, players. That was one of my star players. But unfortunately, they made bad decisions because maybe lack of mentoring, lack of resources, neighborhood pressure, bigs and blues, something that was lacking. But these kids have a lot of potential, and that's a sad thing, is that good kids, they're friendly, respectful, but because they made that one decision, like you talked about, and they got with the friends, there was a gun, or they were high-speed chase, or something that they decided to do because they didn't have that mentoring, didn't have that support system. They got a JID number.
Yeah, exactly. And see, I like how you guys both touched on that, because that ties into exactly why I'm going to do what I'm going to go do.
It's a great thing, because you'll create, children and a society. You're helping to shape children to be in that path.
And then it's the West Side. Like we say it right now. At first, I'm not gonna lie. When I first thought about it, I was like, I want to just get back to the West Side. But I started talking to my customers, and then I met a customer. They call them mentors now, and they go in there and they help these kids that are, low income or just having issues or problematic, whatever they call them.
Right.
When I say low income, because I think they were in the west side of
projects.
the school, yeah. And so his words, I'm done. So he was saying that, oh, you think you would be great right? And you can come on, and this is the crazy part. This is why I say God is so good. He talks about the salary of the mentor, and then where I'm gonna go do is I think it's still a mentor. Like, I mean, it's criminal justice, but from my understanding of what the school district wants is they want someone that had hands on, right? Is vested in the community, someone that has, can not go off necessarily a PowerPoint and the handbook, but it can kind of give a story and an understanding, but relate it to, kind of bring it
Real life story.
yeah, real life story. And if I feel like that is almost, man, that's pretty much describing me in the detail as far as how I can bring that to.
Yeah, you'll find very satisfaction in that. And then you'll see them grow up, and they'll come back and say, "Mentor Louis, I remember when you told me this," and you're like, "I don't remember that, but it's impacted their lives." Three or four words. And what's that statement is people will forget what you said, but people will remember how you made them feel. And that was
That's so true.
and so, I don't care. You could have said you did great, but at one point you said, "Hey, you made a mistake, but I got your back, and I'm going to support you, and you're a good man or woman. And if you need anything, call me, or even a hug." They'll remember that.
You know what kind of woke me up? And it's what someone said to me, and I'll tell you this: it was a newer sergeant at the time, and they had been around for a while, but they told me straight up, they're like, "You have no one to blame but yourself." They're like, "You had the backing of the whole department.
Yeah.
You had it from the top all the way to the, they backed you. You're only in the position you are in because of you. Nobody else. You have no one else to blame." So I remember when I was going through my time, right, and I going through my, I had to really sit back, and that's what I was telling you when we first met today. I'm like, accountability. You just got to take accountability for your actions.
Open
like
the book.
that's the first thing, and I think once you can, that's part of maturity, though.
Right.
I can come in and say I'm 24, 34, 44 even. I mean, let's just go, and I may not be mature enough for whatever. And I'm going to tie this back into God real quick. If you're not mature enough for a blessing, it doesn't matter what age you're at. If you're not ready for that blessing, that's why they say everything. I'm going to tie in. I tied it into every every podcast so far. So I'm going to tie it in right here. And this is going to be, like I said, every podcast has had this verse. Isaiah 60:22. When the time is right, the Lord, will make it happen. So I look at it like, the jail. I left there, no closure, right? I miss it. Like, I miss talking to the inmates, the investigations, all that stuff. So I feel like going back to the school and basically being able to do the same thing, teach the same thing. And then the crazy part is they want me to give them scenarios. They want me to say, "Okay, this is how you interview.
Yeah.
This is how you, this is that." Imagine they come in and you guys can come in and be like, judge a scene. We put them through a process of all right, hey, this guy's going to act out, and what would you do as a CO? Or even interviewing. Because the hardest part about when you get to that level,
Interview.
you interview, right?
People don't. Interviews are unusual are stressful because the person you're talking to could be possibly drug addiction, angry. Possibly shot their mother. We had people shot their mother over crack. You're dealing with monsters.
Yeah.
And so when you come up to them, they could be calm, or they can go off on you, or they just don't want to talk to you, or they don't want to give you information.
No, in that sense, that's classification.
Yeah.
But I meant in this sense, like if you're interviewing for the job, or you're interviewing for a promotion, right? If you're gonna promote to corporate, what do you have to do? You have to interview for it. You're gonna get on a panel.
Yeah.
And I feel like preparing these kids at this young age, or hey, they have a Gomez, a Prado, and someone else right here, and then you guys, okay, hey, this is pretend you're gonna apply for this job. Tell me about yourself.
And so now I think nowadays it's very difficult too because everybody's on social media.
Yeah.
So when I left the jail, that was one of the things that I remember when I first started, right? Everybody talked in the staff dining. We'd all be in there. Everybody would be intermingling. By the time I left, when I got ready to leave, I'd walk into staff dining and everybody's on their cell phones, watching their cell phones, YouTube, whatever, Twitter, whatever it is, People didn't talk as much anymore. Everybody was quiet. There'd be a few that would talk and stuff and have conversations, but a lot of people were stuck on their phones.
They talk on social media.
Everybody talks on social media.
Wow.
The warriors.
Okay.
Big change. I nowadays too, I'm guilty of it now at home with my two boys. Even my wife sometimes we're in the house and she'll be in the bedroom and I'll be like, "Hey, "You coming out here? What time are you coming out here?" Or whatever, and I'll text. I'll text my son the same
That's
thing.
efficiency, though. You're being efficient.
You know what I was thinking right now in my head? Cause it's getting a little hot in here. I was saying, I was text the wife like, "Hey, put the AC on. Where's the AC?" At?
Text her right now.
But the thing is, it's
911.
recording.
All right,
So
it's all good.
I'm gonna have to. It'll kick on right now.
We have to man up.
Yeah, I got the man up. 'Cause
Yeah.
We're close to it. We're at an hour and a half. So
I wanted to talk to quickly.
yeah, no, we're good.
So
I'll
after
warn
I
you.
retired, we created a group, Central Valley Fallen Heroes.
Okay.
CentralValleyFallenHeroes.org. So that group, I'm the director of outreach.
We'll tag that group as well when we tag
Correct.
the recruitment.
With
okay?
the yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so we're going to have we do fundraisers. We do boxing events. So that money that we raise goes to families who are killed, officers' families killed in the line of duty.
Okay.
This kind of relates to the peace officers where we come in. So we help the Scanlon family, and then we recently helped the Carrasco family in helping them with financially.
Was Carrasco the Selma cop?
Selma police officer that was shot, and with a young child,
Yeah.
very young child. And I got to know the family, and I got to know the kids. So that's another thing too. You meet the families, you hear their stories, and you get emotionally invested.
Yeah.
And so when you're that family, everybody moves on. Like after a year they disappear, and but we reach out to obviously the Scanlon family. We went to the son's graduation. The Carrasco family. We also have a large, big car show, and so we honored the Carrasco family in that one. And so we do a lot of reach out to these people. We also honored the Carrasco family at a boxing event. We gave them we have a Scanlon belt with Scanlon's name on it, and it represents warrior, it represents bravery, and it has his picture on there. So we call it the Scanlon belt. It's a boxing belt.
Oh wow.
So we presented the young brother, his young brother.
When did that start?
It started about 3 years ago. We do that in boxing. So
And this next event's gonna be a Scanlon belt.
yeah, the winners are going to get Scanlon belt, and we're
nice.
gonna honor probably a family member or somebody. So our group basically funds when somebody's killed in line of duty. We go and just give them a check. It's called it bridge money, because everybody wants to come in town. The families come in town, and they need hotel rooms and food. It's a big stressor to have some cash to help get the family and support immediately. And so that's my group, and that's what I do, Central Valley Fallen Heroes .org. And I do it because, number one, it helps me, helps me as a person to be giving, to be committed to helping others. And it's a way of dealing with things that I've seen and done. And it's good for everybody. And that's why I always urge people to please, help out community. It doesn't have to be big. You don't have to go crazy, and, just do small things every day. Give something, be kind to somebody once a day, and recognize it. When you go to bed, say, hey, this person, I did this. Just put it in your mind. You don't have to even put it out, because people get bitter, man.
Yeah.
I've seen bitter people, and they get harsh, lack of a better word, and so I'm always concerned about them. What's going to happen to them when they get older? How are they going to be as a human being, and maybe it was related to law enforcement. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just them.
Yeah.
But regardless, if you do that act of giving, helping, being of service, I think it benefits a lot of people.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll definitely be on the lookout for that. I put that on my story the other day.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And we'll continue to, even if you want to come on.
Yeah, come by and get tickets. We urge people to get tickets. Maybe we'll do a raffle for one of your podcasts.
Yeah.
We can do somebody that if they like it and share it, we'll pick a number, whoever, and we'll give them some tickets to go to the fight.
There you go. And then what about if someone wants to be in the fight? I had a guy reach out to me saying he wants to be a fighter.
Yeah, just have them contact you and contact me.
Okay.
We do get fighters. We always get law enforcement fighters too. We always get sheriffs and PD and whatever, firefighters and things.
Yeah, I think I'll coordinate him to you, because he already asked me a few times. I was like, I don't know.
A good story was one of our fighters that we had for 2 fights. Young man, he's a correctional officer.
Nice.
He got to know us through the fights.
Oh wow.
And he got, hey, I'm hungry. I want work.
Nice.
And he got hired.
Well, that could be a good story. We could bring him on the podcast.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that, young men and women, especially I've been to like a ROSI. When I did backgrounds, I went to every town in the world here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good kids that don't know about these jobs. And it's kind of they're good kids, but they don't know what's Fresno County, what's Fresno Sheriff's Office, and they're good kids, and they can get a job, where they can help the families, where they can, make good for themselves, go to college. So I think we need to get into the rural communities and let them know, hey, there's job opportunities for you.
Well, okay, so I can help with that now because
Yeah.
I just got I landed Saldivar. Eddie Saldivar's boy's gonna come on Fresno State baseball, second baseman.
Nice. Yeah, he's doing really good.
The
He's
third
like-
baseman Murph is in. We're in talks. He might come on as well. That'd be a big podcast right there. That could be ties to where we can be, hey, you know, and bring up certain stuff that we have working in and
Yeah.
tie it into the sports and to, you know, this and
Right. And when I have my fights, I have the sheriff recruiting team there. So let's say some guy or girl wants to go, they can go talk to them about how to get in.
yeah,
If they want to talk about backgrounds too, if they're, you know, I'm confidential, just, you know, talking.
For
if they want
sure.
to talk about their issues. But, you know, I still support the department because
Yeah.
the department's done good to me.
for sure.
I mean, I have no complaints. I was given an opportunity that a lot of people don't have. I was given a pension that a lot of people don't have. I was
Yeah.
able to raise my two daughters, you know, take good trips, vacation trips to Tahoe and this and that, you know. I was given a lot of consideration, a lot of love, you know. And I think people need to stop being negative about their jobs.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, and I've told people numerous times, if you don't like where you're at, move. You're not a tree. Period. Don't spread the criticism.
Yeah.
Just take care, handle your business.
Get involved.
Be a
Yeah.
nurse, go to college, whatever you want to do. Life's big.
Yep.
Don't make your work environment negative.
Yeah.
So crazy
anyway,
thing,
that's-
crazy
No,
thing
for
with
sure.
that is, you know, I had it a little rough in on the sheriff's department. I butted heads. I was a little stubborn, I guess. You know, I was stubborn.
Yeah.
And then when it came to policy, I had a misunderstanding in the beginning of policy and procedure. I just letter of the law. This is what the letter of the law is. There's letter of the law, spirit of the law. What is the intent of the policy? What is the intent, right? And so, with time and maturity and experience, all of that changed. I remember, I'm not going to say who, but I remember a particular individual kind of high up there ended up telling me one time, he says, you know, you've really come a long way. You've really changed on your approaches and how you talk to management and how you talk to everybody. And at that particular time, I didn't think there was any change in me. I didn't think anything was different. And I actually told him, I said, you know, I haven't changed. My platform has changed. There was truth to that. So I was more welcomed when I would come and have conversations with management and stuff in negotiations or whatever the case is, right? Or trying to settle something that was a disagreement or misunderstanding between staff and management. But I did change. Like reflecting back on it now, I did change. I matured more. I became a different person. You know, I learned to look at things a little bit different. And one of the things that I took from all of that was that if you're like, for example, when you're negotiating a contract, if the county's unhappy and you're unhappy, chances are it's a fair agreement because nobody left happy from the table. But if one or the other's really happy, come on, somebody took advantage of the situation. And who doesn't want to take advantage? Everybody wants to take advantage. When it's negotiations, it's a cutthroat world, man. It's tough. It's tough. But I came to learn that most of management and most of the people in the county, they're all trying to achieve the same thing that we're all trying to achieve. And that is good pension, take care of your family, go home. And nobody's deliberately trying to get the better end of the other person. They have a duty, an obligation to the community, to the public. We're all public servants. Anybody who works for a county office, city, state, you know, federal, we're all serving the public. And we're all serving with taxpayer dollars. And we got to remember that. And if we remember that and we remember what our mission is to take care of our families, right? That's why we're all there.
Yeah.
Right? If we can remember that, we can achieve what we need to achieve, you know? So don't be so hard on your leaders from your association. That's my message to everybody. You know, they're trying to do a good job for you, trying to keep you safe, trying to get you the light that you deserve, the recognition that you deserve behind those walls, because behind those walls, we're unseen.
Right. And then understand the benefits that the association brings. You know, your attorneys, you don't have to beg, borrow, steal to get an attorney. If life happens, I'm not speaking for them, but I'm assuming they're still, I hope they are, helping people. And I think I've seen one case where they did help a person who had cancer. And so when life happens, they're there. And so, and hopefully physical people take advantage of a little quick workout and go home and feeling pretty decent. Those are things that the association was brought by the founders, and that's not found any another association. It's very unusual to have all those benefits. It's the cheapest, I used to tell them, it's the cheapest insurance you'll ever have in your life. Where people's houses got burned down, guess who was there? Somebody who was in a hospital, couldn't walk, guess who was there? People passed away, guess who was there? Kids need a fundraiser for some event, guess who was there? So understand that your dues go to help you.
Yeah.
It's all a fund. It's a fund for public safety for you, for the members. And that if you do have a problem with anybody as far as decision, send them an email, and tell them this is my issue. Maybe this is a better solution. But, at the end of the day, no one's going to be happy. It's like when you have agenda A, 30% could be unhappy and they're the loudest. So people think, oh, it's no good. But there's 70% are quiet. They support it, but they don't say anything. So noise does not equal numbers,
Yeah.
If you're in North Jail talking crap about something, you keep on hearing it, doesn't mean that the whole 1,000 members support it. People kind of don't know the scale of things,
Yeah.
But once again, respect, communication is a key, especially if you're a board member, because it's stressful. I give those people, whoever's on the board, I give them credit because they're going to be criticized. They're going to be assumptions that are be made about them. And in a day, unfortunately, people aren't going to appreciate you. Yeah. But once again, like Sheriff Mim said, welcome to leadership.
And get involved, man, because I'd like to see that association flourish. We put a lot of work into that thing to make a difference for all of the correctional officers, for all the security guards, all the process servers, all the program techs, all the juvenile correctional officers. We put in a lot of work. We put in a lot of work for all of that. So,
and then the group, somebody needs to, whoever it could be members, step up and get a coalition, a committee for peace officer status. If you need our help, we're there. If you want me to speak on that, I'll speak on it. If you're scared to speak, I'll speak for you, because it's very important to me, because I know things will happen, and it's good at least try, try rather than sit on your hands.
Yeah.
So it's very important for me to see that. I would be very happy that it goes forward. And any assembly women or men that wants to help these people, this is your time. A lot of people want votes. I was to the point where I'm just going to try to talk to Governor Newsom's one of the reps to see if he can pencil in peace officer status for these folks. That might happen, but definitely needs to happen. And the people that are against it need to be quiet. And the board supervisors and the county need to support these guys and girls. That's it. It's got to happen.
Yeah.
It's enough, and it'll help Sheriff Zanotti's department in retention and recruitment.
Well, maybe this podcast will bring some light.
Yeah, bring me 3 soldiers. I want to see 3 soldiers and have them call me or call you, and I'll meet with them.
And for the public, again, for anybody in the public who's watching this, reach out to your city council, your county council, your congressman or congresswoman. Reach out to them. Let them know what's important to you, that your safety is important. And if your safety is important, let's push this peace officer situation and let's see it pass through, because we need the public's help. And there's a misconception, like I said, from what the public's perception is of what a correctional officer is versus what the reality is. And
the
again,
benefits, right?
The benefits.
And why is this group
that
classification gets benefits and this one doesn't?
Right. They need that. They really need that peace officer protection for themselves, for their families and stuff. They're sacrificing so much, we had people that passed away because of COVID, during the line of duty, and they're serving there, taking care of loved ones to people that are outside. Their loved ones are incarcerated, and they're tasked with dealing with them every single day, So I'm sure we all work in unison, the general public with the correctional officers and state senators, legislators. We need everybody.
Assemblymen. We need assemblymen and women who represent the Fresno County area to step up, even the new ones coming in, because there's a new election period. But the thing is, it's not going to happen without people getting in positions that are making you uncomfortable.
Correct.
And answering the hard questions and putting a little light, the light. Because there is a executive group that's against it here in Fresno. And so they need to change, not the membership. The membership are solid because they know the value of that. They care about brothers and sisters. But there's a group that still holds to and I can relate more to them privately. But we just need 3 or 4 people to step up and, make a campaign about it, and really bring it home,
Yeah.
At least try.
And like I said, for me, I challenge those in the political arena to come together and do a bipartisan bill.
Right. Absolutely.
Listen to your constituents. Listen to the general public. The people of the public, their concerns are always safety, fire, and safety. So listen to the public.
Right.
Listen to your people. They're crying out for, hey, we need this. We need to be
Long
safer.
time coming.
Let's do that. Let's start to bring the political ties together with that bipartisan bill.
Yeah, an R and a D.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah, see, I think at least what you guys have shown me, at least we're going to go this route as far as that for this. I think Jimmy Greer's podcast will be good for you guys. 'Cause
Absolutely.
it'll get you guys on another platform that's more towards getting the attention of the people that need to put this in place. And
I just need to. I'm saying this story because I need those people in the jail, a few of them, to step up and say, "Hey, I'm willing to."
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I understand why this is happening and this needs to occur.
Grassroots.
But I'm saying just in
Later
order
on.
to make it like a bigger statement and a bigger
I understand,
platform.
I understand what you're saying, but there's someone out there, you never know who knows who, right?
Exactly.
And so this conversation that we're having here may hit somebody that knows somebody.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah,
for sure.
Assembly woman Hurtado was kind of open to it. She's still in office, so if somebody has a connection and wants to talk, and she was very respectful, and hopefully she was kind of supportive of it. So I'm thinking that she could be the catalyst to it with the Republican and bring it to the it's just benefits for staff.
For sure.
In her area, in her neighborhood, or maybe the person that's running for the assembly seat of Rambulick, and the next person that wins can say, "Hey, you know what? I want to look at this. I want to really have consideration for it."
Yeah,
And, it's the right thing to do, man.
Sounds like it. I mean, once again, all we can do is give people the information and hope that we can do the right thing and get help that if this, because like you said, it's not a matter of if, it's when it happens again. Unfortunately, right? And we want to be prepared for the next family, right? The next brother, sister that this does occur. And we obviously we hope it's not going to, but we just know that in the field that we're in, it more than likely is going to occur.
Risk, yeah.
But with that being said, I mean, we're at pretty much 2 hours. So
That's it.
you guys have anything else you want to say before we end?
No, I just wish.
Thank you for having us on.
No,
here.
like I said, I appreciate it. And
I just wish everyone well, especially if you're doing time, no sunshine. Like I used to say that all the time. I don't know if you remember that. If you're doing time, no sunshine, we appreciate you, respect you. Just know that, your time goes fast. I had 30 years. It blew by. I like to always think that I came in with a good attitude and I left with a good attitude.
For sure.
And I challenge those young people to do the same. And I challenge them to do something different, challenge yourself. I was on the board of retirement. I didn't know anything about being a trustee. Challenge yourself to different positions. Put yourself in a position of where your anxiety and learn and grow.
For sure.
Don't be sitting on your, just do your time and go home. Grow and learn, advance, do community service, get out there, talk to, Assistant Sheriff Duran for mentoring and lieutenants, and just get some feedback. Be involved. Don't just do clock in, clock time, because otherwise it's going to be boring. And then always give and be kind to each other. And truly, if somebody's talking crap about each other, just walk away. Don't even engage. Make that a practice so that person knows that you're not accepting of criticism of your brothers.
Sure.
Act right, be right.
It's already a tough place as
It is. Don't add to it. And thank you, Lou. Once again, I'm proud of you.
No,
Thanks for the
appreciate it.
opportunity. You're the man. Thanks for the cap, Prado. You're the man. Always my brother.
Well, with that being said, I always end it with the Bible
Let's do
verse
it.
that we started with, and then we'll say goodbye.
Yes, sir.
So we were at Matthew 26, verse 35, and it states, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in." So with that being said, thank you guys, and everyone, till the next time.
Thumbs up.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Have a good one.